What's happening, everybody on Facebook? This is Justin Yule from the Transformation Club, and a lot of times I teach this. I forget where I got this quote from actually, but when I do my mindset seminar, which I just did this past Saturday, we talk about perception, kind of in the beginning of the workshop or the seminar. And I love the quote: "When you change the way you look at things, you change the way they look." And I was doing some reading this morning, and it was actually about attitude. And a couple of things I pulled out of that I wanted to share with you today. Let me read this to you here. This is actually, it's about environment, because we talk a lot about, especially in like weight loss and fitness. Is it genetics? Is that the problem? Or is it environment? So are we a product of our genetics, or are we a product of our environment? And obviously there's a little bit of both. And what I have found is kind of a side note from many research that I've done is genetics play a very small percentage, probably less than 10% when it comes to somebody's physique, as far as like being overweight or being really in fit. And it's got a lot more to do with their environment and their behavior, obviously. So I thought this was pretty neat. So let me read this. Our environment, the world in which we live and work, is a mirror of our attitudes and expectations. Your living is determined not so much by what life brings to you as by the attitude you bring to life. Not so much by what happens to you as by the way your mind looks at what happens. I think it's really important. So it's hard to do, right? For sure. Our attitude towards things really kind of determines what actually happens, right? So when we look at the circumstances in our life, when we look at our results, I look at with clients going through like the 20-pound challenge, when they look at their results, they can have a really, in their mind, a great week because they see a number that they think they should see on the scale, or they may have a bad week because they don't see the number they think they should see on the scale. And we've got to get past that. We got to flip that switch and really understand that, in the long game, when we're thinking about weight loss, thinking about fitness, our environment, like our results, really are a reflection of who we are. Because what will happen is, for example, as people kind of jump into our environment here at the club, and they get into, kind of really focus on living a happier, healthier, more fit life, and exercising regularly and eating well and taking their supplements and getting their sleep and working on stress management, what ends up happening is they actually change their environment. One of two ways. One is they end up impacting the people around them who kind of like come on board. A lot of people, for example, refer their friends here and their friends get on board. Or maybe their coworkers just, or their family, adopts a slightly different attitude towards nutrition, for example. Or they end up sort of, I want to say, leaving that environment, because they don't leave their jobs or their families, but they move to spending more time or really quality time in an environment that is more reflective of their new attitude. So in reality is your attitude really does dictate the environment. So if you don't like the environment that you're in, you don't like the circumstances that you're in, you really have to take a look hard in the mirror and say, you are creating that environment. If you're in a shitty environment, for example, and you're staying in that environment and then your attitude sucks, well, you're gonna feed that environment. So it's either up to you to kind of change your attitude, change the way you look at things to hopefully, reverse that environment or make that environment a little bit more better, a little more tolerable, or start seeking out other environments that you can plug yourself into, to have the environment that you want. So I think that's one of the fantastic things about the Transformation Club. There was one other thing I wanted to kind of finish with this quick lesson as you go through this. Two things. One here, I don't know if both these quotes are Viktor Frankl. I know the second one is. I'm not sure what the first one is. They're next to each other. But nothing can stop the man or woman with the right mental attitude from achieving his goal. Nothing on earth can help the man with the wrong mental attitude. So if you've got the right mental attitude, you can pretty much achieve anything, right? But if you have the wrong attitude, you can't. There's nothing on earth can help the man or woman with the wrong mental attitude. So if you've got the wrong mental attitude towards nutrition, for example, if you're just thinking of it as like a diet to lose weight, or I exercise my ass off because I want to lose weight in this period of time for this deadline, but I'm not really changing my mindset, my attitude around living a more healthy life, eating food that supports my body, exercising on a consistent basis. If you don't change that attitude, you're never going to get the long-term results you want. And then I do love this quote. I'm going to close with this from Viktor Frankl in his book, Man's Search for Meaning. If everything can be taken from a man but one thing, the last of human freedoms, to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances, to choose one's own way. So, today, while you think about how you choose your attitude, especially when it comes to the topic of this, this website and this Facebook page is about transformation. We tend to think more on the physical side to get started, although people start making the mental emotional. But you choose your attitude as it comes towards the behaviors that are necessary to achieve the physical fitness that you want. And those behaviors, of course, are regular training, supportive nutrition, efficacious supplementation, stress management, and of course the big one being sleep. So check your attitude on all of those, and if you got the right attitude, you get the right results. If you don't have the right attitude, no matter what you do, you're not going to get them. So there you go. Have faith, take action.